The story began in the castle of the Demon Lord, where the hero Natsuki was battling fiercely. Eventually, he delivered the final slash that defeated the Demon Lord. He felt happy, knowing he could finally return to his own world. The scene then shifted to Mukujima City, where Natsuki found himself standing before his friend Yuto. Yuto revealed that he was dating a girl and mentioned this to Natsuki because he knew Natsuki would be interested to hear about it. Natsuki was genuinely happy to hear this, but soon said he had something to do and left. Yuto was confused by Natsuki's reaction. Natsuki was truly overjoyed to be back in his own world. He recalled that it had been about 6 years since he had been summoned to that terrible other world, which was far worse than he could have imagined. Everything there was awful, and he had fought many battles, sometimes coming close to death. But through those battles, he had finally defeated the Demon Lord who ruled over everything and managed to return to Earth at last. He was relieved to be back exactly at the moment when he had originally been summoned, during his 3rd year of junior high school. He was determined not to let anyone steal his precious teenage years. He then remembered that it was the day his new sneakers and clothes, which he had ordered, were supposed to arrive. When he got home, his mother Haruko told him he had come back early. Suddenly, he began to cry, expressing how relieved he was to be home. Haruko comforted him, reminding him that this was his home, and informed him that his package had arrived. He went upstairs to check the package and found the clothes to be amazing. He then recalled the worn-out clothes he had worn in the other world. Feeling a deep sense of relief, he lay down wearing his new clothes. He wondered if the 6 years he had spent away just a dream was, but he could still feel it was real, even though it sounded ridiculous. To test this, he used Crimson Flame magic, thinking it would not work. To his surprise, it worked, blowing away the roof of his room. Alarmed, he quickly used repair magic to fix it. His mother came to check on the noise, but he told her it was nothing. She then invited him to have dinner, which was curry. Somewhere in that city's prefecture, at the main residence of the Minazuki family, a lady was seated within a magic circle with 2 children behind her. She asked them if they could feel the magical energy, saying it was the strongest she had ever sensed. They had faced many demons that appeared in their world, but whether they could defeat this new threat was uncertain. First, they had to observe it carefully. The next day at school, Minazuki was watching a dragon video game and felt genuinely happy to be back in the real world. His previously boring school life now seemed like a distant lie, and the peaceful daily routine felt wonderful. He planned to enjoy it to the fullest. A boy nearby asked if Yuto really had a girlfriend and if she was from Class F. He also asked if Natsuki knew anything about it. Minazuki replied that he neither knew nor cared about such matters. Then, a girl approached Natsuki and said she wanted to talk to him for a while. They both went to the terrace of the school building, where Natsuki wondered what she intended to say. Perhaps she was about to confess something. She mentioned that she had expected a monster but found only a fellow student, noting that he had been hiding his strength all along. Natsuki wondered if they had met somewhere before. She then revealed that she was from the Minazuki division and was his classmate. Curious, he asked what she wanted to talk about. Suddenly, she drew her sword and attacked him, but he dodged it, commenting on how close the strike had been and asking what her intentions were. She explained that she intended to send him to the underworld and went on to explain that the Minazuki family was a lineage of spiritualists. For centuries, demons and evil spirits had continued to emerge, and their duty was to secretly battle them to protect the world. She said she would not ignore someone possessing such immense, dangerous power as he did. Natsuki told her she must be joking and began to run away, thinking he did not want to deal with such nonsense. She found his behavior cute, but also crazy. Suddenly, small skeletons appeared and blocked his legs, preventing him from moving. She then came to attack him again, telling him to accept his fate. Natsuki struck the wall nearby, but she dismissed it as nothing and claimed he was no match for her. However, when he stood up unscratched, she was shocked. Natsuki laughed and said that he had barely managed to return from that other world, and now a spiritualist had come to fight him, which made no sense. He warned that anyone who disturbed his peace would be crushed. The girl became angry, calling him a demon, and declared that she would now use her full strength with the sacred blade of their clan. He agreed, saying they could see just how powerful she was. She attacked him, but he dodged the strike and told her that, as the Demon King he had defeated, such attacks were nothing to him. Then he drew the demon sword, known as the Blade of Chaos, and struck her, cutting her into 2, Realizing he had gone too far, he quickly used healing magic to restore her and said that it should have properly healed her. He then tried to get away from the scene. However, he remained unaware that someone was watching him from a distance, a lady with wings. She remarked that his power was truly incredible and that Earth seemed even more like a fantasy world compared to the other one. After everything, he left the school thinking that the girl had never returned to his classroom. He even wondered if she had woken up by now and felt that he could finally live in peace. Suddenly, many police officers surrounded him, targeting him and warning that if he resisted, they would open fire. Confused, he asked if it was some kind of prank. They ordered him not to move or they would shoot him down. Then a man appeared, saying to leave it to him. He introduced himself as Hisashi and said he had some questions for Natsuki. Hisashi took Natsuki to the police station to discuss the situation and discovered that Natsuki was not the culprit. It had been a while since they last met, and Hisashi noticed that Natsuki had grown taller. Natsuki thought that Hisashi was an old acquaintance, like a neighboring uncle, but he did not know much about him. Soon, Jinko arrived, and Hisashi introduced her to Natsuki. Jinko worked as a police officer and was known for her sharp instincts. Natsuki asked why he was being arrested since he had done nothing wrong. Hisashi then asked if Natsuki had heard about spiritual phenomena. When Natsuki showed a different expression, Hisashi realized that he knew something about it. He explained everything and mentioned that they had recently received a tip about a powerful demon appearing. He showed a photo depicting a lightning strike coming out of Natsuki's house. Hisashi added that many people had witnessed the event, and their analysis team had traced the energy source back to Natsuki, implying that he might be behind it all. Hisashi added that the police had classified Natsuki as either a demon or a human who had awakened spiritual abilities, and therefore they were required to take action against him. Natsuki responded by saying he should be faster. Then he drew his sword, explaining that it was the Chaos Edge, a trophy he had obtained by defeating one of the 4 demon lords. He went on to say that he had been summoned to another world where he became a hero, fighting demons and gods, and that was how he had gained his power. Hisashi was shocked and questioned whether Natsuki really expected them to believe such a story, warning him not to underestimate the police. Natsuki insisted that he had already shown proof, but Hisashi remained distrustful. Natsuki's daughter then commented that the sword was truly amazing and asked what kind it was. Natsuki asked if she wanted it since he no longer needed it. He gave the sword to her, and she remarked that it might be cursed. Nevertheless, she accepted it and said she would name it the Magic Sword Taro. Hisashi told them to set aside the question of Natsuki's power and insisted that he should stop using it. He explained the reasons why Natsuki needed to tone down his abilities. Natsuki agreed, saying he was no longer interested in fighting and just wanted to play video games and enjoy life. Before leaving, Natsuki asked Hisashi if he was also a spirit user, but Hisashi denied this and said he was an ordinary citizen. At the Minazuki family's main residence, Miyako's mother asked her if she understood what she had done and warned her not to get involved further. However, Miyako had acted recklessly despite the warning. When Miyako, frightened, begged for another chance, her mother refused and told her she should know her limits. She then said she would entrust the resolution of the matter to another person and instructed Miyako to ensure that this person acted with extreme caution. That other girl agreed. The next day, Natsuki was walking while feeling very sleepy, thinking that the police had been careless to catch him. Suddenly, he sensed someone watching him openly. An arrow was then thrown at him, but he stopped it and realized it was a talisman. Almost immediately, he felt someone trying to capture him from behind. A girl appeared and sealed the charm, rendering Natsuki unable to use his magic. She introduced herself as Mio, Miyako's elder sister. Natsuki understood that it was a moment of revenge, but since he had no other choice, he asked her to finish quickly. Then he remembered Hisashi's words about not using his power and decided that he should avoid getting further entangled in the bloodshed, intending to withdraw from the spirit of battle. Natsuki asked her to stop fighting, explaining that it would only breed more hatred. As he was about to say more, she kicked him and told him that her magic had sealed his power, leaving him powerless, and that she intended to end the fight. She continued striking him, while he resisted and pleaded to just have a conversation. However, since she wouldn't listen, he was forced to use his power to strike back, causing her to fall. She was severely injured, her clothes tattered, and she admitted that he had even blown away the power of the talisman, so she surrendered. Natsuki asked if she was hurt and what about her torn clothes. She replied that she was fine and, more importantly, that she had a request for him. Mio first apologized to him for what had happened earlier and expressed her desire to gauge his true strength. He used the water of restoration on her to make her clothes reappear, explaining that although some details might be slightly off, he had restored them to their original state. He also mentioned that he had promised someone to stay out of trouble now, so he couldn't keep communicating with the spiritualities. She then suggested they consider the matter settled and presented him with a token of gratitude from the Minazuki family, which included compensation from Miyako for the trouble caused. She asked if he would hear her out, to which he agreed. She thanked him and said they would invite him to the Minazuki household as well, explaining that they were responsible for managing and subduing both monsters and civilians with spiritual power. She acknowledged that he was very powerful and that their mother was interested in his abilities. He agreed to the invitation, and Mio told him she would come to get him again once they had decided on a specific date. Before leaving, she asked how much power he had used in the battle. He replied that he hadn't even used half of it. She wondered whether it was about 10 or 20%, and then departed. Later, at the Minazuki family's main residence, Mio told her mother that Natsuki had agreed to come there. Her mother asked how he had appeared to her, and Mio replied that although he was very strong, he was just an ordinary middle schooler. Her mother remarked that Natsuki was a mysterious boy and questioned why an ordinary human would possess such power. Mio had even mentioned that Natsuki might be capable of destroying the entire Minazuki family. The next day at school, Natsuki had finished his tasks and was wondering what exactly he was supposed to do for the Minazuki family. He became too excited about the money and stopped paying attention halfway through, then thought about going to grab something tasty to eat. Just then, Yuto came up to him and took him aside, apologizing for keeping Natsuki when he was about to leave. Yuto admitted that he had really messed up regarding Noa, and he knew that Natsuki had feelings for her. As they continued talking, Yuto explained it had somehow led to a date, and then to love. He then recalled the first day he had met Natsuki back in kindergarten, when Natsuki had forgotten his crayons and Yuto had shared his own with him. Since then, Yuto confessed, the newly bought games, even bicycles and other new things, had all been taken from Natsuki by him, and he had even taken Natsuki's girl. Because of this, Yuto apologized sincerely, saying that he never meant to hurt Natsuki and that the betrayal had hurt him as well, so he was asking for forgiveness. Natsuki responded that it was totally fine and that, besides, he barely remembered any of it. Yuto told Natsuki not to act tough and reminded him that he had betrayed him, saying the old Natsuki would have already cried or run away by now. Natsuki wondered if he had really been like that before coming to the other world, but he couldn't remember it at all. Then he recalled how things had gone for him in that different world and realized that, compared to that nightmare, the drama between them now felt downright peaceful, almost cute. Yuto then shook Natsuki's hand, thanking him and saying that Natsuki really was the best friend he ever had. After that, Yuto left, and Natsuki wondered why he sensed something unusual about Yuto. He guessed Yuto wasn't just an ordinary spiritualist on Earth,